Hello everyone, my name is Shannon Jayapal and I want to thank you for joining me as I introduce my project proposal for applying the self-determination theory in nursing care settings. My agenda for today begins with a short introduction to the topic, followed by my proposal for increasing nurse motivation, then to address why it is important, followed by how and when to put the proposal to action. This is my grandfather Edgar McComb with my daughter many years ago. A few years before this picture was taken, he had a pain in his leg that required a hospital visit. They found a clot, and the doctor decided to keep him overnight to put him on blood thinners to see if they could get the clot to dissipate. He stayed in an outpatient area, and we could hear people milling around, barking orders. It was clear that the mood of the staff was one of frustration. The next morning we got a call from my mother that he had to be operated on immediately because he suffered internal bleeding into his spine. We later found out that they had given him 10 times the amount of heparin that he was supposed to receive. This confusion was due to shift changes, miscommunication, and no doubt fatigue. This man who hiked mountains well into his 80s lost his ability to walk, becoming a paraplegic. We found out after the fact that there were other numerous miscommunications that could have been avoided. Anyone who has been in a hospital setting as a patient or a family member understands the value of quality nursing care and how emotions and miscommunications can impact patient outcomes and stress a nurse's motivation. The who in this proposal are the nurses taking care of the patients, who are often exposed to complex situations involving medical decision-making, direct patient care, and workplace social dynamics, all while navigating a myriad of emotions. With all that nurses handle, it seems feasible to create a program that enhances their motivation to increase communication, decrease burnout on the job, and add to patient safety measures. What are the steps that have already been tried? Well, extrinsic motivators are the methods most often used today. These are external incentives meant to increase productivity and staying power. They include such items as bonuses, raises, or some form of monetary prize. Rewards like praise, Employee of the Month titles, or recognition of some kind. Then there are accolades like job titles that are geared to make them feel more important. There are also external motivators that have consequences to their actions, like demotions, firings, or penalties that are meant to motivate nurses to follow the rules. These extrinsic motivators are often used to encourage teams today. However, decades of research prove that these measures don't create the intended reaction. Research supports an entirely different structure that is proven to work even better. I propose constructing a program within the hospital setting to enhance communication skills by utilizing the self-determination theory's platform. So what is the self-determination theory? It's a well-known human motivational concept created by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, which proposes that there is an internal need for humans to have a sense of well-being. It can either be encouraged and increase enthusiasm for one's work, or it can also be hindered and suppressed by the surrounding environment, decreasing the motivation. It is an evidence-based platform for personality development, meaning there is a great deal of supportive research showing the self-determination theory to be reliable in explaining human motivation. Self-determination theory has many mini-theories under it, with an array of different approaches. In the research regarding nursing motivational strategies, there is one particular component in the self-determination theory that appears to be the most successful for encouraging nurse motivation. It is called the basic psychological needs theory. The self-determination theory proposes that there is greater satisfaction of well-being when 3 basic psychological needs are met. The first one is a person's need for autonomy, agency, or control over what they do. It's not about being told what to do, but rather having a say in the process. The next is the need for competence. When nurses have confidence in their skill set and have full knowledge of the tasks needed to be completed, they are better equipped to handle the stressful situations that may arise. The last basic psychological need is the need for relatedness. This is a desire to have a supportive community within and surrounding the nursing unit, where you can rely on each other for help or motivation and build relationships with all involved, which will in turn forge connections and create social support. So why is applying the self-determination theory's basic psychological needs in nursing care settings so important? What does it look like in action? Nurses have a need to have their autonomy or sense of control met because it enhances their decision-making skills. It creates the ability to make emotionally intelligent choices as they gain the appropriate tools to create self-made strategies through training and to act effectively and safely with patients, their families, and fellow colleagues. The need for competence in the nursing field would be, for example, building the skills they use on their job. Knowledge is power. As they increase their competency by adding proficiencies, their confidence builds. This makes them more motivated to apply this knowledge to enhance collaborative problem-solving skills that address issues with patients or between staff members. The need for relatedness is also important for increasing the team's emotional support, so they have a strong, cohesive bond and freely share information within their community. How does the self-determination theory's basic needs help? This is accomplished by implementing research-based techniques that show promise in bringing out a nurse's intrinsic values of autonomy, competence, and relatedness that make a difference in their motivation. For one, introducing conflict management styles helps coach nurses to navigate emotional situations. This management style promotes a response to disputes by training in compromise and collaboration techniques. These conflict resolution styles build autonomy by providing nurses communications tools to freely choose from, competence by building on skill sets needed to have confidence in their abilities, and relatedness as it enhances connections within the nursing unit and their patients. Another way how the self-determination theory can be used is by enhancing cultural awareness through training. Cultural diversity in the hospital setting is a given and has the potential to pose communication challenges as misunderstandings of another's personal values can be have unfortunate consequences. Embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion training can bring about a cohesive and less judgmental environment which feeds the basic psychological needs of competence by arming nurses with the knowledge necessary to do the job and creating an openness and community acceptance of all cultures that lends to the basic needs of relatedness and connection. Another tool that feeds self-determination theory's basic needs is through the use of technology, specifically technology based in humanistic, person-centered approaches through the lens of the self-determination theory. Why? Because technology with a human approach ensures that a person doesn't just become a number, which lends to the nurse's need for relatedness, as they wish to have a sense of connectedness with their patients and colleagues, not a removal from them. This also lends to their autonomy and competence, as technology will offer them information to make diagnostic decisions that may otherwise be more difficult without it, reducing the workload that is already quite full and optimizing workflow, which will help create a healthier mental well-being. So, when can we start? It's important to adopt a training program for nurses with the self-determination theory embedded in, because it can help create sustainable motivation, leading to reduced burnout and facilitate positive changes in nursing staff that extrinsic rewards like monetary bonuses, titles, or praise will never be able to do long term. Instead, as their basic needs for control, competence, and communication are met, nurses become internally energized and have more self-sufficiency. As nurses become trained and better acquainted with the self-determination theory's platform, a blueprint begins to develop, making it an easier program to reproduce for other nursing units who have yet to take part in such programs. This training will create a confidence that will enable smooth transitions and enhance the skills needed to multitask. Not only will this benefit the nursing staff, but also those around them. One clear benefactor of this action will be their patients. Nurses with increased self-efficacy have greater tolerance, advanced problem-solving skills, and they're more invested in their patient outcomes. Perhaps if the staff taking care of my grandfather noticed the discrepancy in the medical records or had the courage to communicate the error to those in charge, he would have escaped his fate of becoming a paraplegic and passing prematurely. A program such as this would have made all the difference. I want to thank you for listening to my proposal using the self-determination theory's basic psychological needs platform to increase motivation in nursing care teams. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions or comments. I look forward to hearing from you and getting your feedback. I appreciate your time. Thank you.